This is exactly what Pelican fans wanted to hear. As training camp kicks off, the Pelicans come into the first day of training camp focused on something that they have been lacking for a few years now. We're going to talk about it and also give you details on what happened inside day one of training camp inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, y'all? It's your people, Melz On The MIC, geared up and fired up, ready for a new season with the New Orleans Pelicans. And I thank you so much for rocking with us inside Pelicans Digest. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. If you're part of the 70% that haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for, baby? This is where you get the best analysis and more about the New Orleans Pelicans, rumors, updates, anything that's going on with the team. We drop it for you on the daily right here on Pelicans Digest. So go ahead and like the video and subscribe and let your folks know about it. And, of course, the top story on planet Earth is everybody's talking about Zion Williamson and his body transformation, if you will. And of course, it's been pretty much the same thing. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't with Zion. I mean, it seems like, he comes into camp overweight, people got jokes. Now he comes into camp, healthier than ever and slimmer than ever, and it's the Ozempic jokes. People are asking if him and Luka are on the Ozempic and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to get into all that in this episode, just so we're clear, all right? Because when I got up this morning and Googled Pelicans, that's all you saw was Zion's body transformation. I'm not going to get into all that on this episode, okay? What I will get into in this episode, though, is the Pels have kicked off training camp. Yesterday was day one, and they released a few videos, did some interviews with everybody, with a few of the players on the team, and there was something that I took away from those press conferences and from those interviews that should make you a little bit more excited if you know Pelicans basketball, especially if you watch this team over the last few years, especially during the Zion Williamson era. It's something that needed to be addressed, and to hear them on day one of training camp address this issue makes me very excited for this season. And Zion Williamson talked about it in his training camp interview yesterday. He says, when he was asked what's going on at camp this year, he said, what's different? He said, a lot of spacing, a lot of speed. Williamson said, it's going to be a lot of fun. The focus was there. Even with that high level of focus, everybody was having fun. That's all cool and all. Spacing, that's the word. That is the key word. That is something that the Pelicans have been lacking for several years now, especially during the Zion Williamson era. This is something that you can even listen. I will help you with this if you want to go do the research yourself. All you got to do is Google Pelicans floor spacing, and Google's AI will tell you that the Pelicans historically have had an issue with floor spacing, and it's mainly partially due because of a lack of what the AI claimed was a floor spacing big. I don't agree with that. It wasn't the floor spacing big. You had Jonas Valanciunas the year you won 49 games. He was a floor spacing big. The issue was you had guards and forwards who were often injured, and a lot of the times the guys that came in their place couldn't keep up. And also you had the issue of Brandon Ingram, who wasn't a really big three-point guy, who if you did get the spacing in the defense to draw into him to try to get that open look with Zion, he's usually getting you open somewhere in the mid-range close to the paint, which doesn't help Zion. So the number one issue was you needed guard play. You need guards that understand floor spacing and understood, hey, if I get you open, can you hit the three? Wings as well. Now, you got a lot of those pieces around you right now if you're Zion Williamson. And to hear them talk about this on day one is exciting, especially when you also consider that you also have a guard who understands spacing in Jordan Poole. Now, when you go look at Jordan Poole's conversation in camp, he also spoke about floor spacing, and we're going to get into that in a second. But once again, I want to prove to you what I meant by floor spacing. For a dominant interior player like Zion, floor spacing is essential. It creates wide open lanes for him to attack the rim, utilizing his athleticism and skill to create scoring opportunities without being congested in the paint. A floor spacing big man could take this offense to new heights, as the runway would be clear for Zion Williamson to operate in the middle, attacking the rim. now. So that's been the problem with the Pels, and I think you addressed that problem by signing a K. Looney and also signing a guard who also understands how that spacing works in Jordan Poole. Because again, when I come back to Jordan Poole spoke about this in his interview yesterday. He says when he was asked about the lineup, he says it is an extremely versatile lineup. He says we got an all, and he's talking about the four-man combination, which we'll get into in a minute. We've got an all-first-team defender in Herb Jones. We got a lot of guys who can score the ball, a lot of playmakers and guys who've been in this league. When you put all four of those characteristics together, you can get a positive formula. And one of the things that stood out to me in a lot of the photos that I saw coming out of training camp was Jordan Poole sort of leading the team, being the floor general. It is quite possible that, and it seems like it's going to be cemented in stone, that Jordan Poole is going to be the starting point guard for the New Orleans Pelicans on opening night. If you ever had a doubt in your mind. This should solidify, especially if you go back and look at some of the content the Pelicans put out from camp. Jordan Poole is very vocal, very loud, telling guys, hey, you need to be here, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. He's going to be the floor general on opening night. And I can see your opening lineup when he talks about this four-man rotation. I can see him being with Murphy, Herb, Zion, and possibly Looney. Because now you got a big man, a floor spacing big, who knows how to move out of the paint and set screens. That's what Kevin Looney was known for, setting screens for Steph Curry and others to get open, spacing out the floor. You got a guard that understands that play with Jordan Poole and Looney. You can have a lot of success with that, especially that's your starting five, and also creates opportunities for Trey and Herb and Zion as well. This should make you excited if you're a Pelicans fan. I'm just saying. This is why you should be excited to hear them talk about spacing and talking about how they can improve the offense. Because again, this team has not been a great offensive team and has not been a great spacing team. And now you had that opportunity to have that spacing that you need with Zion to operate, where he doesn't have to be in the paint all the time. A lot of the times in past seasons, you would see the paint get congested. Last season was even worse. Besides the injuries, we ain't gonna talk about that. You still had Daniel Tice and JRE, and you had to try to space the floor with that. So again, that was the other issue, was depth in this team. And I'm glad to see that another photo that I saw service was Saddiq Bey and Jose Alvarado dapping up. And I'm willing to believe that this could be a strong second unit that you have with the Pelicans, with maybe Jose at point guard, Fears at the shooting guard, and Saddiq Bey in the paint somewhere along with Missy and somebody else. Something Joe Dumars is adamant about and was speaking about in his press conference, his opening press conference this week, was that he wanted this team to be deep, 10, 11 guys deep. And I think you have that right now, especially when you look at a picture that I saw from the media day, which was that guard room. Look at these are our four guys, man. These are our guards, man. You got Dejounte Murray, who ain't gonna be back till New Year's. So all you got to do is make sure those three, in Poole, Hawkins, and Fears, have an understanding and a chemistry that works out with all the other guys on this team. Along with Jose Alvarado, of course. Jose is in there as well, but he ain't in this photo. They left him out of that photo. He wasn't there, I don't know. But these are your guards. This is our guard room, man. That can be the point or shooting guard. So we're deep, man. We are super deep in certain areas where we needed to have floor spacing. And that's important. There were two big weaknesses that I've seen the Pelicans have addressed this all season, and that is rebounding, and now they're talking about fixing their floor spacing based on the combinations that they have with this roster and where they could go. A versatile roster, as Jordan Poole says. And this is something why you should be excited to hear if you're a Pels fan, that they are addressing these issues in training camp. And they're going to have a lot of time to get together and figure it out, because they got to go to Australia on them 20-hour flights. So get that chemistry right. And that's what they're going to do. And that's what we're going to keep doing right here, is give you the best details on what's going on with the Pelicans. So what do you think is going on in training camp? Are you excited to hear that they are starting to address a lot of the issues, the long-time things that have plagued this team? What are your thoughts on it? Clap back in the comments. Also, what are some things that you've seen in past seasons besides injuries and health? We all know that's the issue, the number one problem that's plaguing the Pels. What are some things that you're hearing and seeing on the internet and in the reports that the Pelicans should address this upcoming season to make this team better? I think they're all to a good start, in my opinion, despite what all the media is saying. That's why you get the best analysis here on Pelicans Digest. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like it. Go ahead and share this video with your fellow Pelicans fans. Let them know it's Melz talking about them Pels, and you can get the best details about it right here on Pelicans Digest. I'll holler at y'all.